Tonight on Q2, spreading the love.
You have to open your heart to everybody and really love your neighbor. That's the message I would send.
One couple looking to raise up Billings' LGBTQ plus community in a unique way. We'll show you how they're doing it. Plus a highway shutdown.
And now it's like almost, I would say, at least once a week during the winter.
The interstate has been closed in Livingston multiple times this year, putting a strain on travelers and the community. And long live the doggy.
It's not so much a win for me, it's just kind of what people wanted to do, and I knew I had to raise my voice to get it done.
After much debate, Forsyth's beloved mascot will stick around after all. The MTN 10 o'clock news starts right now.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us on this Monday night. I'm Russ Riesinger. New at 10, dozens joined together in Billings tonight to raise awareness of the struggles faced by the city's disabled population. That event, which featured a panel of speakers sharing their own personal experiences, aims to shed light on accessibility issues and pave the way for positive change in the community. As our David J. reports, the goal is simple: removing barriers and creating a better future for these individuals.
Access for those with disabilities can be challenging. While many have made the necessary adjustments, those attending a discussion on Monday are hoping for even more accommodations. Sometimes those with disabilities do not get the welcoming that they need.
Still places that their seating isn't 100% lower for people in wheelchairs.
Mitch Bone points to the Americans with Disabilities Act, which requires 5% of the seating be lowered.
That is an ongoing problem here in Billings that we're trying to help correct.
Bone was born with spina bifida and organized a disability awareness forum. He says many government buildings, including Dealer Park and Metro Park, along with theaters, have the necessary accommodations. He says often the issue is not willingness, it's simply not having the information they need.
It's definitely not that they've resisted, it's just they don't have that need in their own lives, and so they didn't think about it when they were opening their restaurant.
You learn something new every day about yourself.
Jack Lillis was part of one of the panels at the forum and has rheumatoid arthritis, which he says affects 60 million adults and about 220,000 children in the United States. He says something like the recent snowfall makes it even more challenging for people like his friend Bone and himself.
Even for someone like me walking from one spot into the door, there's ice on the ground, there's always the risk for slipping and falling, and for a lot of people that can be catastrophic.
Access, whether they're in a wheelchair or whether they're not, they can go up to the mountain and take part in a day on the mountain with our staff and volunteers. Access can be financial barriers.
They say while there's still a lot to be done, it is getting better.
Those small things can make a big difference in people's lives.
There has been a little bit of pushback, but I'm sure as time goes on, it'll be even better.
We're definitely moving in the right direction. There's a long path in front of us. And I think it definitely starts with conversations like this.
And the next conversation, the next Disability Awareness Forum, will be held in July. In Billings, David J., MTN News.
And today in Helena, disability advocates joined together to push back against the Montana Attorney General's involvement in a case they say could weaken federal disability protections. Last year, 17 state attorneys general, including Austin Knudsen, filed a lawsuit to challenge a Biden administration rule that added gender dysphoria as a condition entitled to protection under Section 504. The original lawsuit aimed to find the entire section unconstitutional, saying it was coercive and untethered to the federal interest in disability. However, advocacy organizations argue that the case is a threat to the Federal Rehabilitation Act since it's tied to 504. That act requires any programs that receive federal money to give equal access to people with disabilities.
504, really, when it comes down to it, is what allows me to live and be a person who can exist and be productive and contribute to society in a way that's meaningful.
Knudsen's office argues these concerns are mistaken, saying in a statement, quote, "Bad faith actors are deliberately misconstruing this lawsuit 9 months after it was filed to frighten parents into believing that the attorneys general put Section 504 in jeopardy. That is categorically false," end quote. For now, the case is remaining on a stay until the spring. One Billings couple is looking to spread the love in a unique way. Earlier this month, Matt and Emily Hankins started a GoFundMe page hoping to raise money for a billboard in support of the LGBTQ+ community. Well, they smashed their fundraising goal in a week, and today that hard work paid off with a billboard coming to life. As our Isabel Sparks reports, the response and effort to get to this point has been overwhelmingly positive.
A new billboard has gone up here near 24th and Grand, but this one isn't trying to sell you something, but instead hoping to spread a message of love.
When driving down Grand Avenue, you might notice this. A large billboard that reads "You are loved" on the front of a pride flag.
It feels so good to see it up in the air and watching hundreds of people drive by and looking at it. Makes me feel really good in my heart.
That new display that went up Monday is thanks to Billings couple Matt and Emily Hankins, who got the idea by the same message seen by artist Ray Sonarighi several years ago in Helena.
Our friends in Helena had put one up, and it immediately struck me as a great idea.
Tensions in today's political climate might leave some feeling isolated, and the Hankins wanted those in the community to feel supported. They were also inspired by how the Billings community came together during the 1995 Not in Our Town movement against hate crimes.
Now is another time when we can really rally and support the people that are hurting, the people that are scared, and people that we love.
Within a day, the Hankins had secured a contract, but to pay for it, they launched a GoFundMe. And to their surprise, thousands were raised in just a short time.
It literally took a week to have enough money to put up the billboard for half a year. And then the next 3 days, we funded it for 10 months.
According to the Montana Advancement Project, it's estimated that 3% of the adult population in Montana identifies as LGBTQ. But the Hankins want the message to still hit 100% of all Montanans.
Montanans really value freedom and independence and respect. I feel like this billboard really speaks to those Montana values.
I think that's what we need to express to people, that you're loved because you're a person, not because of the community you're in or because of the community you're not in.
The billboard will stay up for a year. All of the additional money collected will go back to the artist and local LGBTQ organizations.
We want everybody in the Billings community to know they are loved.
In Billings, Isabel Sparks, MTN News.
Well, Livingston has the reputation as one of Montana's windiest cities, and that was especially true yesterday, with the town seeing a 90-mile-per-hour gust. That's the city's third strongest on record. And those winds, which toppled several vehicles on the highway, led to the closure of Interstate 90 for most of the day. That shutdown has been a common sight this year, causing hundreds of travelers to divert through town. With all that traffic, you would think businesses in Livingston would be booming, but Lauren Solano, owner of Neptune's Tap House and Eatery on Main Street, says that isn't always the case.
Thought that that might be good for business, but it really isn't. People aren't getting off Park Street. They're mostly staying in their car hoping that they're going to get somewhere.
With the very latest on the wind and the warmth, here's Chief Meteorologist Ed McIntosh.
I feel like talking a little weather. Let's start with the Stockman Bank weather cam and the almanac for the day. 41 was the coolest reading all day, which was very close to our average high for this time of the year. We made it up into the 50s, low 50s at 53, but the winds played a big part of the weather at 41 miles per hour. Statewide temperatures, we saw most of those 50s anywhere from Bozeman all the way over toward Sheridan today. Cody, you were at 52, 40s across the eastern plains, and 52 also as we look over towards Great Falls and Missoula area. The bigger story, areas where we have some flooding, some wind, and the potential for more snow. I'm going to break down all the forecast details for you in just a few minutes from now.
City of Billings is warning short-term rental owners to pay up before the Code Enforcement Division takes action. City officials are preparing to send courtesy letters to any short-term rental owners that have a property not in compliance with city code. According to the city, a short-term rental permit and city business license are required to operate residential rentals such as Airbnbs that offer stays less than 30 days. As of now, more than 300 properties are in violation. A city business license for first-time rentals currently costs $55, with short-term rental permits costing $300. Both do need to be renewed annually. The letters are scheduled to go out March 10th, with property owners then having 60 days to come into compliance. If an owner fails to renew their permits, they are subject to civil penalties such as fines. Billings Public Schools has received more than $271,000 through the Innovative Educational Tax Credit. All of the donors will receive a dollar-for-dollar credit on their state taxes. The funds will support 3 programs: STEM education, Career Center trade exploration, and the Gifted and Talented program. The STEM program will receive $156,000 to upgrade robotics for 5th grade students, while the Career Center will receive $77,000, with $38,000 going for supplies and technology for the Gifted and Talented program. Superintendent Dr. Erwin Garcia thanked the Billings community for their tremendous support. The Doggies will live on in Forsyth. The beloved mascot was set to change due to trademark concerns, but that decision quickly sparked passionate debate among students, staff, and alumni. Tonight, our Marcus Kakova returns to the town, hearing from students on a victory that helped preserve the school's legacy.
Sometimes when you're a young person, the world can seem apathetic to your qualms.
Being able to be took seriously was kind of important.
But for students of Forsyth Public Schools, their logo means a lot.
It kind of just shows where I'm from and what I'm about.
In December, with multiple Doggie logos, the superintendent planned to narrow down to one. But the fan favorite was cited as too similar to the Texas Longhorns. Now, however, it's unanimous. They get to keep this fraction of history alive.
They watched Preston's video and approved that that logo could be used, and then asked us to take down all of our Texas Longhorn stuff.
Preston McGregor, student body president, called to return the town's original motherless calf.
This one is a Texas Longhorn. So one of these days I'll just come out here and probably change these. It might take me a couple hours, but I'll just move the horns down to make it more like ours.
He says the whole situation is just about listening to people.
A couple of years ago when they changed the logo, it just kind of came out of nowhere and people never had a chance to speak up, really.
Though Vice President Annika Sorensen recognizes the sort of David and Goliath dynamic at play.
Who would have ever thought they would even recognize us or notice us? And here we are reaching out to them, and yes, just shows the closeness of our small town.
Where does this all fit? This small town symbol in the scheme of a much wider world. Bigger news.
When you speak up for something you believe in, you can get people to listen, and I think that's how it kind of ties into today's news climate. The people down at the bottom of the pyramid can be heard.
Marcus Kakova, MTN News.